Well, I'm here today with Jenny. And Jenny, I'm sorry, I don't know if I can pronounce your last name, but Jenny is a dear friend of mine from Norway. And over the last couple years that I've known Jenny, I've come to really admire her relationship with her husband. And I invited her here today because we're doing this series of interviews on healthy relationships. So, Jenny, I'll let you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you, and we'll just get started.
Thank you, Vicki, and thank you for inviting me into this place. My name is Yoni Egg, and I live on an island with my husband and two kids. And I work as a doula, a birth helper, and I also hold Yoni Egg courses and a sexual wholeness course for women to really help them reclaim their own Wonder Woman. And we just had our first tantra course for couples, my husband and I, and that was really magical weekend to see the couples come with this stone face on Friday, and then you see these soft couples leaving on the Saturday, and it feels just so meaningful.
Wow, Jenny, there's so much there that I want to get into. For one, many of our women may not even know what a yoni egg is. So we're going to get to that in just a minute. But I want to dive into this relationship with you and your husband, because I've really, as I've gotten to know you, admired this very open, emotional relationship that you have with Morten, where you really have this just beautiful way of being. So can you tell us a little bit about, one, how long you and Morten have been together? Maybe what did that look like when you got together, and how you've created this relationship?
Mm. So we have been together for 8 years, and I have never been a woman that just like, yeah, want to be in a relationship all time. I've been more like relationship have been really scary for me, but relationship have also been really interesting for me. Like I have three of my parents' friends, which I really admire their relationship from a really young age, and I felt like how they were meeting each other and talking to each other and really like showing up in the relationship was like, that's the kind of relationship I want. So that really early, like when I was starting to be a teenage, I really was looking into that. But when we first met, I was more like in the masculine mode and was not ready to receive and really to let him in. And I've been so used to just take care of myself for 23 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Independence, right?
Yeah, really independent. So really, what relationship with Morten had taught me is really uh, to melt my heart, and how beautiful that can be, and but that's really been a journey and really a lot of dedication to show up.
So let's start with this idea of, you said you were very independent as a single woman, and then coming into the relationship, you had to learn more about this balance of giving and receiving. And most of the women in the United States are in an extremely independent mode, where they felt like being independent is their survival mode, like they have to be that way to survive, and they don't even recognize that there's something missing about that. It's kind of glorified.
Mm.
So say more about this idea of independence versus being able to receive someone else in.
Yeah, I think a lot of women, including myself, know it's much less, but really like it's so glorifying with this independence, and it's something that it's all over the world. But I see like to be in this more receiving part is to being vulnerable and to really let someone in, like to be intimate with each other. And I just searched like for the word intimate, and it's to be close without fear. And as long we're gonna be independent all the time, we have these walls around us. We can do everything about ourselves. But when we really let something in, it's something really vulnerable. And I think all of us really longing to be let in someone's deepest chamber of the heart. And also as those relationships where I really feel close to someone is when I got to see all these sides of a person, not only this glorified, independent, all perfect side. So it's something to really meet like the soul of someone else.
And how did Morton meet you there? Because there has to be a level of respect and trust in a relationship to be able to open up and find that vulnerable space.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a both way journey. So he's been really, I called him the oak from the first time I met him, how he was standing and holding almost all emotions. He still was a little bit scared of the angry part. I hadn't really embodied myself either. But just see this, how he could hold me and how that like, let this patterns I had from my own childhood that it was not okay to feel all those feelings. I know you're talking about independence. But also I remember once when we was to a tantra couple workshop, and then my only goal was like, I cannot really trust Morten because I want to be so strong and independent, and I really just want to trust him. I really want to let him lead a little bit more than I do. I want to let go of control. So that was my deepest intuition, and it's like no bullshit here. I just want to go there, and that was what happened. Like that weekend when I really decided for myself, and really took a step back and let him take a lead. Well, he said it so beautiful, like the last sharing we had. When you really take a step back, Jenny, then I could have space and really see how your wild, beautiful, sensual, delicious woman came in front, because you gave me also that space to let me hold you. So it's not only him to like it's a both way thing.
That's so amazing. And I think that's probably something that women, like you said, they crave this connection. Maybe it's all people, we crave this level of a connection deep in our hearts. And many of the women in my audience have come from relationships where their partners have consistently said demeaning things to them. They've consistently criticized them. They've consistently put them down and not been willing to do the work to meet them on the journey. So what I'm hearing you say is, one thing about Morton is he had kind of the emotional intelligence to meet you from a very healthy space on his side as well. What do you feel? How does he treat you? How does he talk to you? How does he engage with you?
Yeah, he really have this gift of listening, and that's also when we talk, and we have these date nights every second week when we always start with the really deep questions and sharing. And so then we are really practicing to share and to listen without interrupting. But he really have this gift of not advising, but only holding space and listening, and hold me in that. And you also have this gift of sometimes I'm like, why do you don't react? You know, because I feel like, okay, this is a lot of feelings, but he still hold it. I mean, he cannot do it every time, but a lot of times he just by not reacting, he's just like holding the space.
That's beautiful. So when you come to this time of sharing on your date night, what does that look like? Just walk us through the process of what happens in that time of communicating with each other.
Yeah, first of all, I want to share like those date nights is the reason why we're still together. For me, like in a busy life, as we're like having 2 kids, and you cannot really have this romantic relationship all day, like you can see how you like idealistic. But to know that we have those date nights and we're gonna have this sharing is like, okay, we will not have really good time to talk about this right now. We at least have it in a few days or maybe 1 week. So that is like, it feels so safe for me to have those sharings. And we always have 3 questions.
Okay, perfect. And let me just make an observation there. So you intentionally create time where you know you're going to be able to talk about the difficult things and the good things that are happening
Yes.
for you.
Yeah, so we have like in our calendar, we have scheduled a half year upfront, like every second weekend. Then 1 week, then I design our date night. We always have this sharing. And I like whatever I feel that we want to do. If I've seen something new, it's always nice to have some surprise. And then like in the next 2 weeks, then Morten is designing it. So you can feel like, okay, no, he taking care of it, and no, I'm taking care of it. So we also can rest in that. And it's already the structure of it.
How beautiful. So you're not having to carry all the way to figuring out what date night looks like. He's doing it one time, you're doing it one time. Ah, beautiful. And so 3 questions, you start with 3 questions. What are they?
Yeah, so we kind of hold on to those because we feel it's like it's really helping us. So the first one is, what are you afraid of? And then we ask like, and then he said what he's afraid of, and then I say thank you, and then I ask pretty fast again, so we not go into the mind, but we just go into what's really is there. And it's come up to me like, wow, you're afraid of that. Then I understand why you acted like that for 2 days ago. Of course, we will make space for that. So it's give like a really deeper understanding to see those like other patterns that it's not so easy to see in the moment when other things are happening.
So it gives you this really safe space to really begin to understand the other person on a level that we don't often see them on.
Yeah.
Ah, that's beautiful.
Yeah. And then when we come back, then when we have this same question, it's kind of become like deeper and deeper and deeper for every time we're doing it. So I see like, even if I've done this for 2 years now, I see like new layers coming up in Morten affairs. So it's really beautiful and exciting.
Isn't that the way that depth is created, though? We have to go, in my work, everyone always hears me talk about the Eiffel Tower and about the layers of the foundation. And the deeper the foundation is laid, the stronger and the taller the outside, the physical structure can be. And so that's what I hear you saying in this relationship is you've laid a foundation that helps you to continually go deeper and deeper and deeper.
Definitely.
So let's see, you said the first question was, what are you afraid of?
Yeah. And then the second question is, what do you really want? I remember one guy said, the most brave you ever can say is what you really want, what you really want. Sometimes we like put like, okay, now the 3 questions is about sex, the 3 questions is about our relationship, and the 3 questions is about our family. But the really most brave things you can say what you really, really want. And that is also really, really beautiful. And to really feel into what I really want. Do I hurt him if I say this? Or, you know, and then we, just hold each other in that. And of course, can feel hurt sometimes, but then it's also that part of the journey.
What happens when you feel hurt, or what happens when Morten feels hurt?
Also inside me.
Yeah, like how do you work through that? If he says something that hurts a little bit inside of you, how do you work through that?
Yeah, so usually we do this 3 question, and then we have something physical, and in the end we always have a recap. So we ask each other how the date night was, and then we talk about it kind of in the end. We haven't had any like really big hurts in the beginning. Then I think we have had to stop kind of and talk about it then.
Gotcha. So you are not ignoring it, not avoiding it. You are talking about it.
Yeah, so we're talking about it in the recap in the end of the date night.
Okay.
So then, but we can also like we know each other so well. I saw you was reacting on that, but we not make it allowed to say like in my sharing directly I reacted on that. So we just keep our sharing, and then we take it in the end. That's how it's been working good for us.
Okay, I see. So in the beginning, you're just truly speaking about from your perspective.
Yeah.
And then at the end, you get to ask another observation about how it impacted the other person. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, so what are you afraid of? What do you really want? What's the third question?
What do you love about me?
Ah.
And that's like when I do this in a couple of courses, the women is like, they never want it to end. But that's also like, it's kind of soften things out without bypassing it. Like, but it's, that's beautiful to end it with that.
Beautiful. So you start the date night with those 3 questions, and then whatever each one of you has planned for that evening unfolds. And then you end. Tell us about the recap at the end of the date night.
Yeah, so then we asked like, how did you feel about this night? And then I could feel that you was reacting when I was saying that. How does that feel in your body right now? And then we talk about that.
Beautiful. So we're going to bring it full circle. Were you seeing each other as a whole person throughout the whole evening or the whole time that you're together? What has this done for your relationship to make this consistent time?
For me, it's really the pillar for me. Like, I don't know how many years, maybe 3 years ago, I felt like I didn't know if I could make it in this relationship, because it became like this hamster wheel, where we just like I was home alone I was home with the kids for 5 years, and we were so tired, and then we come home, he was also tired, and then make dinner, and then we have this like, the same thing happened all the time, and for me it was important to really have this quality time. So I felt it was like the thread was pretty thin. And then I went like, okay, I have to take care of myself now. I have to see where my sore points are. So then I went to a therapist, and she showed directly like where to go further. And then invited us on this date night thing. And that's really been like, I think we're never gonna end that. It's like so important.
And I look forward to when I have another partnership in my own life to implement that in, because I love the whole process of it. That's beautiful. How did Morton respond a couple years ago when you brought up the idea of this date night?
First, I have to really look back when we started. I think it was a bit, also we had sharings before, but we had like maybe 2 months, and then it could go 3 months. So really have this structure was something different. But it was something new for him in the beginning, but he was positive to it, because he also so like, if you not decide to do it, it's easy like to just be, okay, we're tired tonight, we maybe wait next day for the date nights, or so we're not. So now when we have scheduled it, even if it's in a birthday party, I come home to the date night, like we are really dedicated. So he now he see like it's really important, and he see how much it have been healing a lot of his childhood patterns.
Wow.
It's really been like to really be seen in that way, and to really have this continue to show up in that way for each other.
Yeah, let's talk about that just a little bit more, because I feel like hurt people hurt people and healing people heal people. So if each person is acting from their wounds or their hurts, kind of unconsciously doing that, we're very likely to hurt each other within relationships. But what I've just heard you say is this more conscious, intentional approach actually has brought, now I just heard you say it's brought a lot of healing for Morton. And I heard you say earlier it brought a lot of healing for you. So can you say more about how it's healed these hurts inside of each of you?
First of all, I feel like to not being as a hurt each other, for us it's been important to not use each other as a therapist, or like that we do our own therapy on the side, and then we meet like from a more peaceful place. So if we have something really hard going on, we also need help from outside, instead of using each other to, then the attraction is really harsh. And so you asked how it's been healing, Vicki.
Oh, yeah. So I loved what you just said there. You're not expecting to be everything for each other, but you are each independently working on your own things, but then coming together and respecting that process of healing.
Yeah, and really, for both of us, it's really important also that we have our own time, like only us, also only Jenny and only Morten time, and that's a really big need for both of us. And I see as more respect we have for each other's really deep needs, it's more easier to meet each other with healing, and when both meet each other from there. So I see in a relationship it can become a really bad pattern, like you hurt me, I hurt you, and when you see when they have a short time, a good time together, it's like then it's healing, but then it's so short, it's so easy to come back to this hurt again.
Can you give me an example, Jenny, of a hurt or a fear from your own life that you feel has kind of been healed on a deeper level because of this relationship with Morton?
Yeah, I grew up myself in a really in a family where my father had this alone right on anger. So for me, it's really been scary with anger. So like when I got my first son, I was scared of him because when he was angry, and it's so when I've been angry, as I have not been so much angry in my life. I didn't thought I was an angry person, but everyone have all these feelings. And then it was just actually for a month or a couple of weeks ago, I really felt that I healed that part of that. I never felt my dad could hold me in anger. Then he shamed me a lot if I was angry because it was only him. And then I was really angry, like for a couple of weeks, a month ago. And then Morten were just holding me and, have these kind eyes and holding me into the anger and giving space to that and not shaming me. And I feel I still like crying because that was so healing. And, they say like, if you've been met 3 times in that thing when you really felt so much shame on being something of then it will heal. So I think it was like this really deep 3rd time he met me like that with this really deep presence and just holding me into that. So I feel that's been really healed. And I feel like after that happened that I can much more able to really trust and talk my truth.
I can sense, Jenny, how that would, being able to just take off all the masks and be able to say and experience exactly what you're feeling and have unconditional acceptance for the other person. What a beautiful space that is, and how few people have probably ever genuinely and truly experienced being seen like that. It's a gift, a tremendous gift. Let's shift just for a little bit into talking about the work that you and Morten do together. And so tell us, first of all, what's a Yoni egg? And then tell us a little bit more about the Tantra work that you did together, and maybe even the Tantra workshop that you just held this past weekend.
Yeah. So Yoni egg is like a crystal stone egg that we use like a tool, and it's one of the most effective tools to strengthen the pelvic floor, where we have a lot of power as a woman, but we are not focused so much on this area. It's like I started this sexual wholeness course on Thursday, and almost every woman is like, this area is so close. It's like forbidden, lost area of the woman's body. So in the Yoni egg we're using, we sliding into the vagina is like the first day is all about how to do that safely, and then we use it to both to sensitize the vagina area and the pelvic floor much more. And when we sensitize, we are more able to explore our life force, the essential life force, and our power, and really feel strength from our pelvis, and also get more in contact with all the muscles and the deeper orgasm. And
what happens, because I feel like many women have just disconnected from their sexuality. They've either gone through something traumatic, or they've been in a relationship that wasn't healthy, and they felt like they were obligated to have sex with someone that they didn't want to. So what happens to a woman when she disconnects from that part of her?
When she disconnects to the pelvis,
Yeah.
I think she get more stagnant. It's like I see when we awake that area, that it's more like flow in every area of life. So more stagnation, and feeling this. You can see that one part of the woman is kind of lost. It's like this shameful part, and more like less playfulness, and more into this structure and control. So when we awake that area, it's more into this soft playfulness and really deep power, but from a soft, feminine, heartful place.
I think that's a place many women don't even know exists for them, but they would love to find that place.
Yeah.
Oh, so how, because I know our sexual organs hold so much trauma if we have experienced trauma, and being conscious in this area actually helps us to heal that. And so is that what the Yoni egg is doing? Is it's beginning to like help us reconnect to that our sexuality and who we are as a female?
Yes. Yeah, it's really reconnecting us to it's healing, because we're working a lot also with visualization. So we're connecting the vagina and the brain. The vagina and brain have this deep connection together. So like also in birth, the brain is the most important organ. So when we work with that, we can release chain. We're going through different like releasing meditation, and also like pelvic floor meditation, to just feel really authentic, feel how do I feel in my vagina opening right now. I'm feeling closed. Okay, that's okay. And really acknowledging what you're feeling, and not like going to this how I should be and how everyone else are having it in their life, but they maybe not have it, but it just looks like that. To really be authentic to yourself. And from that space, when we really are authentic and acknowledging how we are feeling, then we can feel this awakening of this sensual sexual energy. But the Yoni egg is really working to sensitize and strengthen the pelvic floor and really heal trauma.
Okay, beautiful. And then tell us a little bit about your work with the Tantra. First, how do you define Tantra, and what does it do for couples?
For me, Tantra is to really say yes to life, as both the dark side and the light side, to embrace everything that we are. All feelings, all body parts, all that we are. So like I feel like the nature is very tantric. If you look at how the wind is, and also that we are all seasons. So the nature is like the deepest picture for me of tantra in a way. How it's changing, and the flowers are blooming and still shining, but it's like all this storm inside and holding itself. So tantra have it really effective tools to learn to take care of ourselves, and to really meet ourselves there. I never been into something that have such a powerful and easy tools.
Well, I think we can have a whole nother conversation around that in the future. I think this sounds like there's a lot to explore there.
Yeah.
What is the goal for the couples who come to your Tantra weekend? What did they learn during that weekend?
So our goal was like to see your partners in a new face, in a new eyes, in a new way, and that became the end of kind of every couple when we had the last sharing. But what I learned is like conscious communication. How can we listen to someone without interrupt, without judging, and like, okay, she feel that. How can I also like, just hold this space for her or him. And then we asked them really as other, not the sharing we had, but like deep question: why are you together? What kind of tools do you have in your relationship that you can cooperate in your relationship? And then we go through like, how can you express your feelings in a good way, and then to hold each other in all those feelings. And then we also have this little sexual information about tantric sex. Also, we always do like physical exercises, but also like where is this part and the sexual reflexivity of the vagina and the penis, and that's something I think like every woman and man should have been seen on the school. So
I agree. We're highly undereducated when it comes to our own bodies.
yeah. Yeah, and then we work a lot like with breathing. So the first thing was working about this foundation you were talking about, Vicky, with the Eiffel Tower, really to like going into ourselves. I think that's also like you always have to go back to yourself. So when you connect with somebody, you connect with yourself first, and from that place. So you're not like giving all your energy away when you connect to like stand. I am here and you are there. From that space we connect. So we work a lot with that too, and that was really powerful to see that happen.
Well, that's what I just heard you say, Jenny, too, is like the whole weekend was about building those foundational skills for just a healthy relationship across the board. And then that sets the stage for this beautiful sexual relationship that one can one happen without the other?
No, that's like, oh, I thought it's going to be so different, because when they hear about tantra, they think it's only about sex. But this foundation have to be built first, and before we meet in the bedroom, and if they want to have this deep heart connected sex, we need to talk, we need to have sharings, we need to work on we also separated the women and the man to work really on the feminine, and to really try to let go of control, and then the men work more on being steady and hold the space for women and let them be wiped on the feet when they come up again.
I love that. Okay. Well, Jenny, we have talked long enough today. I think I thank you so much for all of the beautiful way that you have been here today and expressed and shared about your relationship. Is there any one thing that you feel like for a woman who has not experienced this type of relationship, she wants to create it? Maybe she is single right now, or maybe she's in an unhealthy relationship that doesn't have this. What advice would you give to her?
I think if she is single, to really go into herself, learn to know her own needs, learn to know her own body, and to like really play with herself from a curious place, and to really like take care of herself, to really like what's the word for it? So you radiate that really delicious partner
So you're
from that space.
from an
Attract.
attraction space.
Yeah. So what I see, like a lot of women never really touch themselves. So to really like to learn to know your body and to listen to yourself, what do I want in a relationship? Really make that clear for themselves, and then it's like, how do I do that? So then they go to you, Vicky.
Yeah, right. And you, Jenny.
Yeah. And then if they are in an unhealthy relationship, then it's a lot to do. But like one single thing.
Isn't it the same whether you're in a relationship or not? Because
Yeah.
if they cannot connect inward,
Yeah.
know who they are inward, there's like, that's what I talk to women about, is if you're in that unhealthy space, it's not about the other person. You have to know you before you can
Yeah.
even understand how to connect.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you for being here today, Jenny. You're on the opposite end of you're what, 7 hours I think ahead of me. So you've taken time in your afternoon, and I'm just getting my day started here.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Vicki.